Hello and welcome to Nationwide. My name is Kenan Ima Abodike. Executive Secretary, Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission and Chairman, Northern Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Yakubu Pam, has called on parties to Southern Kaduna crisis to sift the swords and embrace dialogue. Achari Maxwell reports that Reverend Pam stated this while interacting with religious and traditional leaders of Southern Kaduna.
The delegation spent several hours meeting with Southern Kaduna Elders Forum, Southern Kaduna People's Union, SUKAPO, and other community development associations from the axis. The plea to all the groups is to embrace dialogue, no matter their grievances, and find a common ground to broker peace through forgiveness, sincere reconciliation, and above all, love.
The first thing is let's stop firing each other at this point. Let's cease the fires so that we'll be able to think well and fashion well.
For the representatives of the people of Southern Kaduna, reconciliation is a way forward to sustainable peace in the area and beyond.
We are ready to cooperate with the government so that if we do that and help the government will also help us.
What is the first solution is to return the people back to their communities and resettle them, and then go a step further by apprehending the perpetrators, fish them out, and bring them to justice.
As part of the peace-building process in Southern Kaduna, a peace summit for stakeholders is underway. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
Revenue generating agencies complying with regulations on remittances to the Federation account will receive necessary legislative support for them to improve. On the other hand, those that fail in this regard will risk being taken off the national budget in the 2021 fiscal year. This was made known by the Joint Senate Committee on Finance and National Planning at the continuation of its public hearing on the 2021-2023 NTA fiscal strategy paper. John Yaku has details.
The Nigerian Customs Service on how to improve revenue in the coming years noted the challenges of the free trade agreement, but hopes that the end of COVID-19 will improve imports while calling for review of import levies.
I found out from my colleagues, customs heads, it's only Nigeria that we allow Coca-Cola to produce and pay nothing.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, on its part, advocated for shift from oil revenue to commodity export to earn more foreign exchange for the country.
Our only foreign exchange is from oil. So that's why we are susceptible to all these challenges that oil brings to us.
Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, the NNPC and the DG Budget Office agreed on a proposed $40 per barrel benchmark, 379 naira to the dollar exchange rate, and oil production rate of 1.7 million barrels per day, in line with the OPEC production cut.
Draft 2021-2023 MTF FSP has been prepared against the backdrop of a global recession and heightened global economic uncertainty.
We have to hurt the industry just to ensure that we comply with the OPEC, because we have to do that to ensure that the price picks up again.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and Chairman of the committee stressed the need to improve revenue to finance the country's budget deficit.
The time has come for us as an administration to start to think of other sources and means of funding our infrastructure.
If you are partly funded and you generate revenue which you spend and which is more than some of the budget aid contained in your budget document, you have to give it.
Also at the hearing was the Director General of Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad.
The digitization of NTA was supposed to have commenced even before the DSO was introduced. But like I said, out of the 5 necessities necessary to make NTA a partially commercialized enterprise, only one was put in place. And this is the situation to date.
The Federal Inland Revenue Services was urged to deploy technology in the collection of stamp duties. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
In the meantime, the management of the NTA has described as false and malicious a report making the rounds on the social media to the effect that the Senate committee had discovered a financial fraud running into billions of naira in the joint venture arrangement between the NTA and Star Times. In a sharp reaction, the management avers that neither the chairman of the committee, Senator Solomon Olamileko, nor any member alluded to fraud during the entire session. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has decried the non-relocation of most international oil companies to the Niger Delta as a result of insecurity. The governor stated this when he played host to the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timepre Silva, at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogede Nyepere reports.
The Minister of State for Petroleum, Timepre Silva, was accompanied on the visit by the Board of Directors of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and its Group Managing Director. They are in the state to ascertain the state of affairs at the Port Harcourt refinery, where rehabilitation work is about to commence. The minister commended the Rivers State government's efforts in the area of security, noting that the state occupies a prominent place in the oil and gas sector.
The petroleum product sector, subsector, has been deregulated. That means that that subsector has been enabled to function as it should. And in Port Harcourt, we have 2 refineries and a 3rd refinery to be co-located within the same area, which means this is going to be a major center of refining in Nigeria.
Governor Wike bemoaned the excuses of insecurity always put up by the international oil companies for non-relocation of their head offices to the Niger Delta region, saying the region is safe for investment.
Who are those causing the insecurity in Niger Delta? They begin to project as if there's so much insecurity in Niger Delta. It's not correct. Niger Delta is safe.
He tasked the NNPC to see to the rehabilitation of the road leading to East Facility in Port Harcourt. Ogede Nyepere, NTA News.
Addressing the needs of victims of terrorism by offering support and encouraging member states to promote, protect and respect their rights will help restore their freedom. In this special report, stakeholders in Akwa Ibom State call for national assistance plans to support and strengthen the victims' fundamental freedom. Udwak Etim has more.
Terrorism in all its forms and manifestation remains a global challenge that causes lasting damage to individuals, families and communities. These scars run deep and still appear in the minds of the victims, as survivors always find it difficult to cope with the situation because their freedom have been tampered with. Stakeholders say it is critical to take the time to remember and honor victims of terrorism, and also called on governments at all levels to improve on security.
Security is not just armed. Security is by governments or individual being conscious of their environment.
Game is one part of it. The tools and mechanism of dealing with the problem becomes more important than the issue of the victim alone. Yes, the victim. What do you do with the victim? You buy him clothes, you buy him food, you give him this thing. He remains a displaced person. He remains a refugee. What he needs to do is to put him back in the state he was before now. So how do you put him back in the state? If he's a farmer, he can't go to his farm anymore. You need to contain the issues affecting him and his land.
Others are of the opinion that the federal government should implement global counter-terrorism strategy by providing support to victims and ensure they fully enjoy their human rights.
Better place for those victims is by providing source of income.
Experienced in some parts of the country, especially northeast Nigeria, terrorism is a thing of concern to all citizens. This requires national and global efforts to address its attendant effects for people to live in peace. In Uyo, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
Worried by cases of building collapse recorded in some parts of the country, the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, KOREN, has set up a technical advisory committee to ensure full implementation of the new KOREN Act aimed at addressing the challenge. Ali Rabiul stated this during his working visit to Bauchi State. Awal Abdullahi was also there.
The President, Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, KOREN, Engineer Ali Rabiul, said his visit to Bauchi State is to interact with members and relevant stakeholders aimed at improving productivity and effective service delivery. He said the new act that empowers KOREN to prosecute offenders will go a long way in addressing the challenges of building collapse and maintain quality of structures in the country, and stress the need for effective engineering regulation monitoring.
The new law has given us powers to prosecute everybody, whether you are an engineer or not. And to do that, we should be able to get the ERM in place. That is why we are going from state to state to get the structure of the ERM in place, and then, of course, proceed from there.
Governor Bala Muhammad, who emphasized on the importance of engineering in infrastructural development, explained that Bauchi State has recently enacted new procurement law to enhance quality of projects and express readiness to support the engineering regulatory body.
Engineering engineers have really worked assiduously with their counterparts in other parts of the world to provide engineering and globally acceptable solution to our problems and challenges.
The current president inspected some of the completed and ongoing projects in the state, where he expressed satisfaction with the quality of work. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Kwara State Panel of Inquiry into alleged monthly diversion of 300 million naira from local government council funds has begun sitting in Ilorin, the state capital. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya reports that local government councils in Kwara Central were the first set to make presentations before the panel.
The panel of inquiry was inaugurated August 11. It has since been summoning heads of local councils to probe into their finances with a view to ascertaining the veracity of an allegation that 300 million naira was deducted monthly from local government's funds. The directors of personnel management and accountants from ASA, Ilorin East, Ilorin South, and Ilorin West briefed the panel on funds that accrued to their various councils between May 2010 and July 2020 and how they were expended. The panel screened their payrolls, bank accounts, and their statements, statutory allocation papers, schedules of local government internally generated revenues, among others. In their various submissions, the officers insisted that no such money was being diverted from their council's funds as alleged. The only loan that councils are serving is the 1.6 billion naira taken on their behalf by the past administration, with a monthly deduction of 1,006,000 naira per month on each local government. Chairman of the panel, Justice Matthew Adewara, had earlier sought the cooperation of all, affirming that the commission was on facts-finding mission and not to prosecute anybody.
So we are not going to waste time, and please, when questions are asked, go straight and give us the correct answer.
As at the time of filing this report, local councils from Kwara South were making their presentations before the panel. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
Lagos is the first port of call on Nationwide today, and Awal is our guide.
Thank you, Kenna. Mitigating the shortage of food supply caused by COVID-19 pandemic requires farmers in states to harness the areas where they have comparative advantage, in addition to beefing up the entire agricultural value chain for adequate food supply. Macau reports that this is the current advocacy among farmers in Lagos.
The agriculture value chain is one of the most affected by the lockdown restrictions, despite being on the priority list of exempted services. Farmers decry loss of produce running into thousands of tons. Semi Tokpe Odetola and Muyiwa Olukoga There are farmers who realized about 15 tons of fish on a monthly basis before COVID-19 took the world by surprise.
We have enough fish in our lagoon, in the ocean, that, we are not tapping into.
We need to scale down so that at least you won't lose your money.
Also, Lukman Yusuf and others who get about 45 crates of eggs daily are among farmers experiencing shortage in productivity.
No way to see food for the chicken.
Away from dwelling on challenges to preferring solutions to accelerate food production.
In this country today, we have very few commercial farmers. We have very few mechanized agriculture. So it's around issues of land, it's around issues of funding, it's around issues of also productivity in agriculture, it's around issues of the value chain. If somebody produces, somebody has to process.
Experts call for more collaborations between state government and the private sector to bridge the shortfall in food supply that could arise owing to the coronavirus pandemic in some states. In Lagos, Amaka O. NTA News.
Moving on to oil and gas, where the recent launch of the Nigerian gas transportation network code by President Muhammadu Buhari is aimed at providing the right framework for the transportation of gas from the source to the end user. Annie Daniels in this report takes a look at the significance of this project.
Nigeria, a country blessed with both human and natural resources, including oil and gas, has been grappling with the challenge of gas flaring for decades. Steps by previous administrations to eliminate the trend yielded little result. President Muhammadu Buhari administration, aware of this, employed several steps, which has translated to the use of domestic gas by a significant percentage of Nigerians.
Gas will not spend much like the way you're supposed to spend in kerosene.
Not resting on its oars, the President recently launched the Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code, NGTNC, designed to enhance the use of gas as a catalyst for national economic development.
I like that project. It will give me an opportunity to make choice of my own, whom I patronize, and where do I get the products.
The Director, Department of Petroleum Resources, Saraki Awalu, says the project will go a long way in deepening economic development, improve gas supply, boost liquefied petroleum gas availability, and attract more investment opportunities in the nation's gas value chain.
The optimal implementation will promote and create fair and non-discriminatory transportation and transparent and cost-reflective tariffing. You see that without the code, the pricing is not right. You can't say where the price is, but this will create opportunity where the price will be optimal.
The NGTNC project is part of the key reforms instituted by the present administration to expand gas-to-gas industry, gas-to-gas manufacturing, and mitigates the challenges associated with gas flaring in Nigeria. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Time for a break. Nationwide continues shortly. Don't go away.
The Governor of Abia State, Okeze Victor Ikpeazu, cordially invites you to the unveiling of the Ismail Ikpeazu Memorial Library and the public presentation of the book, Talks of a Scholar in Governance, a compilation of the speeches, lectures, and broadcasts of the Governor of Abia State, May 29, 2015 to May 28, 2019. Date, Sunday, August 23, 2020. Venue, Editoria Hotel, Aba, Abia State. Time, 12 noon.
ICPC and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
NTA TV College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is currently admitting students for its ordinary diploma programs in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. Interested candidates are advised to obtain relevant information concerning eligibility at our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. For further information, contact Assistant Director, Marketing, NTA TV College Jos on 0803-314-4383 or the Academic Office of the College on 0806-980-9807. Announcer, Registrar.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Welcome back as we turn to aviation, where airline operations are gradually picking up with an average flight frequency of 65 to 70% at the Abuja airport. Aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayemiro reports that a gradual passengers increase is due to confidence reposed in the sector, going by the strict adherence to COVID-19 protocol.
2 weeks after the reopening of the airport for domestic flight operation, the airside is still begging for the usual hustle and bustling due to flight frequency reduction by airline operators.
They've gradually been able to build confidence over a short period of time. The frequencies are pretty much back to normal.
As at the time of filing this report, a Benin-bound aircraft with 50 passenger capacity has 49 people on board, while this aircraft from Lagos with 140 capacity arrived with 122 passengers.
Although it may sound impressive to hear that most seats of some airlines are almost full, the fact is that due to the current reality of COVID-19, most airlines have reduced their frequency in order to cut costs.
They're coming back already, mainly Thursday and Friday.
There's some increase towards weekends, like today and tomorrow. It's better than Monday, Tuesday, maybe likely Wednesday.
I've never entertained any fear as regards to flight schedule since the resumption of flights.
Domestic flights in and out of the Abuja airport have been smooth, with passengers already used to the COVID-19 protocol required by operators. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
The onus of border security, inter-border cooperation and peaceful coexistence between government and people should not be seen as the sole responsibility of government alone, but as a duty of every patriotic citizen to participate and contribute meaningfully towards that. Yobe State Governor May Malabuni stated this in Damaturu while receiving his counterpart from Difa province in the neighboring Niger Republic, who came to strengthen relationship between the two states in different countries. Yunus Suleiman reports.
Nigeria and the Niger Republic are two West African neighboring countries with long-standing relationship preceding the pre-colonial period. Difa region in Niger Republic, neighboring Yobe and Borno states, is one area that its people share common culture, language and religion, with socio-economic activities thriving between them, dating back decades, a long history of peaceful coexistence. These antecedents informed the decision by the governor of Difa region, Issa Laminu, to lead a high-level entourage, including security personnel, 5 first-class traditional rulers, state and national assembly members, on a working visit to Yobe State, where he met his counterpart and discussed issues bordering on security, trade, education, and socio-cultural activities between the two neighbors. Governor Mema Labuni, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Baba Malam Wali, presented a letter to the Governor of Difa offering free scholarship to 5 indigenes of the area to study English language, business administration, computer science, sociology, and political science at Yobe State University.
This visit will serve as avenue for further cementing long-cherished brotherly relations.
The governor of Difa region, Issa Laminu, thanked Yobe State government for its generosity and wants a more robust synergy between Difa and Yobe to further enhance viable ventures among people of the two states. Issa Laminu, however, lamented over the persistent insecurity that has crippled trading activities at the border between Yobe, Borno in Nigeria, and Difa in Niger Republic, calling for collaboration through the Lake Chad Basin Commission to arrest the situation. In the Matru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Yobe State Forum in Borno State visits their host, Governor Zulum. For these and more stories from our Maiduguri Network Center, let's join Mohammed. Mohammed, you're on.
Many thanks, Kene, and welcome to Nationwide from Maiduguri. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has called on citizens of Borno and Yobe states to unite in the quest to proffer solution to common challenges confronting the once unified entity before state creation. The governor made the call when Borno Yobe Forum residents in Abuja paid him a solidarity visit over the Baga incident. Mohamed Goni reports that the forum was led by a former minister of the Federal Capital Territory, architect Ibrahim Bunu.
It will be recalled that Governor Zulum's convoy came under attack in Baga town on 29th July this year during his assessment visit to the area. Professor Babagana Umara, who appreciated the forum consisting of elders, members of the National Assembly and former ministers, reiterated his resolve to remain at the forefront, delivering developmental projects and to provide succor to the beleaguered citizens of Borno, and will not be deterred by campaigns of calumny.
The UN resolution clearly stated, 2017 clearly stated that military operation has to be followed by stabilization mechanism. As the military is trying to liberate areas, there should be the establishment of civil authorities on the ground to allow resettlement of the people so that they can take pieces of their life.
The governor lamented the plight of the IDPs across the state and the threat of hunger and starvation at the IDPs camp and host communities. Leader of the Forum of Borno and Yobe residents in Abuja, Ibrahim Bunu, who stressed their unflinching support to Governor Zulum, extended the forum's sympathy and solidarity to him over the Baga incident. The forum noted Governor Babagana Umara's passion, zeal and commitment in the quest to free the state of insurgency, as well as various developmental projects spread across the state. The forum called on the military to take the war to the insurgents rather than repelling attacks and enhance interagency cooperation among the various components of the armed forces, as well as frequent rotation of officers and men. In Maiduguri, NTA News.
National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, under the auspices of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, has organized a flood preparedness, mitigation and response sensitization lecture to internally displaced persons. The event took place at Bakassi IDP's camp in Maiduguri. Jadwa John Jassini reports.
During the sensitization, the IDPs expressed concern over the perennial flooding being experienced these days in camps due to heavy downpour.
We need the support of government to assist us with sun filling.
Acting Northeast Zonal Coordinator of NEMA, Isa Ishaya Chinoko, while declaring the sensitization lecture open, highlighted the effects of flooding, saying the agency and other development partners are committed to providing the needful.
The people themselves need to take care of themselves here by avoiding the avoidable and doing the needful, so that at least we will not witness another disaster.
Representative of Commissioner for Environment and other speakers at the event called on the IDPs to avoid indiscriminate dumping of refuse on waterways and assured them of government intervention. Meanwhile, NEMA, SEMA and other development partners were also at Dala community to enlighten them on the need to take proactive and curative measures to avert flooding. In Maiduguri, Jadwa John Jessini, NTA News.
We now return you to Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Mohammed. The training to bring women who operate small and medium-scale businesses at par with international business operations has been concluded in Abuja with financial empowerment from the Minister of Women Affairs. Ngozi Sylvia Teknikio has the details.
I've learned a lot. In fact, when we started, there's no handwork and we did not learn.
Because of this token that was given to me, I will use it to boost my business. I'm actually a poultry farmer.
The cash benefit is intended to boost the women's businesses and better their lives and the economy, especially in this COVID era. The Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talin, stressed that the training is timely.
Whatever a woman gets is the family that benefits. And once the family, the woman is empowered, it boosts the economy because it has a multiplier effect.
Women are very resourceful, and we believe no matter how little you give a woman, just give her time. You see how she's going to change the life, not only the life of her family, but the nation and society at large.
The training is also intended to prepare the women to become self-reliant and well-equipped to key into the post-COVID-19 economic recovery plans of the federal government. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva, Technical, NTA News.
Now, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has acknowledged the role of the media, humanitarian actors, as well as multilateral and bilateral partners as the ministry commemorates the first anniversary of its creation. The minister, in a statement, notes that it has been a very eventful, interesting and challenging year in which she learns to navigate the peculiar geography of humanitarian interventions, disaster management and social interventions to fulfill the ministry's mandate, describing President Muhammadu Buhari as a visionary leader for curating the ministry which has been in the vanguard of battling the pandemic. Sadia Umar Farouk thanked the president for putting her in the driver's seat of the ministry and acknowledged that over the first 1 year in the saddle, she has gained new insights, learned valuable lessons and emerged with fresh perspectives regarding what works and what does not. Commending the role of the media, the minister described the fourth estate of the realm as both partner and ally, which remains an important stakeholder. The minister emphasized that she and her colleagues remain resolute and committed to fulfilling the mandate, which has informed the theme of the anniversary, Service to Humanity. The minister extended special recommendations to the humanitarian actors and other partners in the humanitarian sector, such as the UN agencies, as well as many other bilateral partners who continue to provide humanitarian assistance despite security challenges and at great personal cost. She also acknowledges the sacrifice of those who lost their lives in one theater of conflict or the other during the period. The minister clarified that the ministry's 1 year anniversary compels her and her team to do more in the management of disasters, provision of humanitarian assistance, and the development of social safety nets, which help build resilience for the future. Ibadan Network Center is next with Adebola standing by with stories making the round there. Over to you, Adebola.
Thank you, Kene. Good to see you. Welcome to Ibadan. As part of efforts to complement federal government's drive at reducing the rate of unemployment among youth, member representing Oyo Federal Constituency, Akim Adeyemi, has empowered more than 100 youths on e-learning digital capacity building. Funke Amole's report is here presented.
Increase in the rate of unemployment among youths is no doubt a challenge facing the country. This prompted Member House of Representatives representing Oyo Federal Constituency, Akim Adeyemi, to equip over 100 youths in a 5-day digital capacity building. Honorable Adeyemi said the ICT program was designed to support the drive of the present administration in addressing the economic deficit through digital transformation.
Oyo youth, 110 Oyo youth have been here in the last 4 days, undergoing e-learning, e-commerce, e-account, e-everything, knowledge base in the mission is to really empower people to explore the present and to key into the future.
Participants and others could not agree less, saying it will enable youths in Oyo compete favorably with their counterparts across the globe.
It's a testimony to this resolution of the president. And I believe that before it finished, this time in 2023, we will have made considerable achievements in this resolution.
Youths from the 4 local government areas in Oyo town benefited from the training.
This year's World Humanitarian Day places premium on frontline workers worldwide, especially for essential services rendered during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is why the Red Cross Society Ogun State embarked on environmental sanitation exercise at the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority, Abeokuta. Anthony Gandono's report is here presented in this package.
World Humanitarian Day is a global celebration of people helping people. It was designated in memory of the 19 June 2003 bomb attack on the Canal Hotel in Baghdad, Iraq, killing 22 people, including the chief humanitarian. In 2009, United Nations General Assembly formalized the day, and since then, the world has been paying tribute to real-life heroes who have committed their lives to helping others in the most extreme circumstances throughout the world. This year, the day comes as the world continues to fight COVID-19. To commemorate the day in Abeokuta, Nigerian Red Cross Society, Abeokuta North District, embarked on humanitarian service in some communities, including premises of NTA Abeokuta.
We are here today to just render a little services in our own little way, so that at least to even mark the day.
The General Manager, NTA Abeokuta, Fomi Wakama, appreciated Nigerian Red Cross for contributing their quota to the war against COVID-19 in the country.
Because this will go a very long way in ensuring that the curve of the coronavirus is flattened in our society.
The theme of this year's celebration is the life of our heroes.
Nationwide continues with Kene in Abuja.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 340 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The latest figures released bring the total number of confirmed cases to 51,304 infections in the country. A breakdown of the new cases from 19 states reveals that Kaduna has 63, FCT 51, Plateau 38, Lagos 33, Delta 25, Gombe and Adamawa 21 cases each, Edo 20, Katsina 17, Akwa Ibom 11, Ekiti 10, Rivers 9, Ondo 5, Ebonyi 4, Cross River and Ogun have 3 cases each, while Sokoto, Imo and Nasarawa have 2 cases each. With the latest development, 37,885 cases have been successfully treated and discharged, while 996 patients died, unfortunately. The federal government has commenced a laboratory experiment on production of coronavirus vaccine with a view to curbing the pandemic in the country. The Director General, Nigeria Institute of Medical Research, Professor Babatunde Lawal Salako, disclosed this while handing over 5 circumvent ventilators to the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta. Lukman Adefeso's report is presented in this package.
Since the outbreak of COVID-19, several countries and organizations have been working tirelessly, including research, towards finding lasting solution to the pandemic. While some countries have come up with vaccines currently undergoing tests to ascertain its potency and reliability, others, including Nigeria, are still researching.
We are currently cloning the spike protein of the virus, which is the one that can elicit immune response in the individual. And once we are able to go through that process, then we can come up with something that can be tested in the animal. So we are still in the lab under experimentation. But I don't have a doubt that if we have the necessary support that is consistent, we can come up with something.
This informed the donation of 5 circumvent ventilators by an international organization led by Professor Babatunde Lawal Salako to the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, as a way to support the hospital in the management of COVID-19 patients.
We are Oliver Twist, and we will continue to ask for more. So Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, whatever they can do to help us, even in the areas of molecular lab, PCR, SPRD machine, we will definitely appreciate it, because before we get the result from the state, it takes almost about 4 or 5 days.
The hospital management assured proper utilization of the ventilators.
An assessment of the impact of COVID-19 on telecom networks and service delivery to consumers has been carried out to ensure that service providers live up to expectations despite the disruptions caused by the pandemic. Joseph Johnson reports that a virtual meeting was organized by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
With the advent of COVID-19, Nigeria, like other parts of the world, is still finding ways of adapting to the new normal. The shift from the regular has impacted on all sectors of the economy, but as people take to the internet more than ever to reach family, friends and transact business activities, the telecommunications sector has come under scrutiny owing to complaints bordering on data usage and billing, as well as quality of service and experience. This first edition of Virtual Telecom Consumer Parliament seeks to address the various issues raised by consumers.
Come up with suggestions that will enhance the delivery of efficient and qualitative service to our esteemed consumers during and after the COVID-19 pandemic period.
We would continue to do everything within our regulatory mandate to ensure that constant improvement in telecom service delivery is sustained.
Discussing the theme, the impact of COVID-19 on telecom service delivery, the regulatory body is hopeful that this platform will reinforce efforts aimed at protecting telecom consumers' interest and ultimately promote a healthy telecom industry for all. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Time to join the seat of Caliphate, Sokoto, for contribution on Nationwide from that zone.
Hello and good evening and welcome to Sokoto. Muslims advised to strictly adhere to the use of the Islamic calendar. These were the views of speakers at an event to mark the new Islamic year, organized by the Joint Islamic Organizations in Sokoto. The new Islamic year is celebrated to commemorate the successes and challenges encountered by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Islamic year, known as Hijrah, could be traced back to the migration of the Prophet from Mecca to Medina.
There are certain activities, certain worship, certain commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that can only be implemented using the Islamic calendar.
With the awareness of these Islamic organizations, we are trying now to bring up the children to be very conscious and aware of the Islamic calendar.
Most of those involved in banditry, armed robbery are youth, and the problem lies in our inability to bring them according to the Islamic way of life.
Other significance of the new Islamic year is for Muslims to renew their faith through prayers and other forms of supplication in compliance with the teachings of Islam. The celebration of the new Islamic year in Sokoto was witnessed by people from all walks of life, community and religious leaders. Zamfara State Government has flagged off the implementation of the Partnership for Expanded Water, Sanitation and Hygiene as part of strategy to improve access to safe drinking water for rural dwellers. The program, which is collaboration between the state and the federal government, is to be implemented in 6 local government areas of Zamfara State. Halilu Muhammad Umar reports.
The Partnership for Expanded Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene (PWASH) is a national collaboration for the improvement of access to water supply and sanitation in Nigeria through a structured multisectoral approach. 10 states, including Zamfara, have been selected to benefit from the program, whose implementation is through cost-sharing formula of 50% between the state governments and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. Zamfara State Commissioner for Rural Development and Cooperatives, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Yusuf Abdullahi Mayana, flagged up the implementation of the program in 6 local government areas of the state. They are Anka, Bungudu, Bukuyum, Maradun, Kauranamoda, and Zurmi.
I am very much aware that we have the budgetary provision of about 500 million, which the state government is willing to release for the state to take off its own part.
So within 12 weeks, we should be able to complete all the schemes because they range from simple solar, conversion and upgrading of conventional borehole to solar motorized borehole, then 20 hand pumps for each of the local governments to be rehabilitated, and most of the contractors are already on ground.
There were goodwill messages from representatives of Zamfara State Ministries of Water Resources and Local Government and Community Development, as well as the Sokoto Zonal Wash Office, who all expressed determination to support the implementation of the partnership. In Gusau, Halliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
That's it from the seat of the Caliphate. Back to Kenya and Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Welcome back. Women in Bauchi State have been receiving attention from individuals and organizations towards making them self-reliant through empowerment programs and assistance. The recent gesture was the empowerment of 150 women of various groups with items worth millions of naira by the wife of the state governor to enable them start up business. Charity Zakar reports that the gesture was in commemoration of this year's World Humanitarian Day.
Persons self-reliant could be one of the ways of getting people out of poverty. This were the pattern of empowerment initiated by wife of Bauchi State Governor Aisha Bala Muhammad as she joined the rest of the world to mark this year's World Humanitarian Day. The governor's wife on the occasion recognized women with empowerment for self-sustenance.
The gesture was born out of our desire to assist the less privileged and reduce the massive poverty endangering the society.
Persons who benefited from the gesture were the very vulnerable women in the state. The beneficiaries appreciate the governor's wife. Items distributed worth millions of naira were food and non-food items. Hospital equipment such as scanning machine and hospital beds were donated to Women and Children Hospital Railway and Misau General Hospital. Some health workers were also honored with awards for their dedication to serving the people. In Bauchi, Charity Zakka, NTA News.
Football fans expect an exciting UEFA Champions League final between Bayern Munich and PSG. Gift George has a preview of the match and more on Sports Update.
The 2020 UEFA Champions League final, the 65th of Europe's most prestigious football tournament, will be between French champions Paris Saint-Germain and German champions Bayern Munich on Sunday in Lisbon, Portugal. Both sides will be hoping to make it a treble in the season. PSG will be playing in the final for the very first time, while Bayern Munich are 5-time champions. Both sides have met 8 times in the tournament, with PSG winning 5 times and Bayern Munich winning 3 times.
You will agree that it's going to be a mouth-watering fixture. For Bayern Munich, they are on form. They are in a very good form of their lives.
I think that PSG has what it takes to actually cause that Bayern Munich defense a whole lot of problems.
I think this is Bayern Munich's cup or trophy to lose. They've got all it takes to win this year's trophy.
In another development, in anticipation of the resumption of sports in the country, the Edo State Cricket Association and Edo Boys High School have taken possession of hand-washing and sanitizing machine presented to it by Pets Foundation. These safety measures, the donors believe, will play a significant role in the resumption of cricket in the state.
To assist in keeping us all continually safe.
And by this, it is our post-COVID-19 commencement of this game.
On a sad note, the remains of late former board member of the Nigerian Women Football League and sports journalist, late Henrietta Okaegwe, have been laid to rest in her hometown in Imo State. Various football stakeholders paid glowing tribute to the former women football administrator for her contributions to the growth of women football in the country.
Always telling you to push, always telling you not to give up. Every situation, she has a word for you.
The late Henrietta Okaegwe died on July 14, 2020 at the age of 53. With sports update, Gifts George, NTA News.
Report is next. That's nationwide on the NTA this Saturday. Thanks indeed for watching. My name is Kenneth Ima Abodike. Of course, don't go too far away. Bade, Adele and Co are still here for the concluding lap of Sports World. Bade?
All right, thank you very much, Kenneth. But before you go, I wanted to ask you.
This year's trophy, nobody can stop them tonight, not even PSG or France. The only problem I have with PSG right now is that they struggled for too long to reach the final, and here they are up against a side that is as destructive as ever in the history of this competition. Let's not forget about what they did to FC Barcelona. They are still nursing their wounds at the moment. But tomorrow, Lisbon will be really be alive, and we're going to watch great football. But finally, I think the German outfits will be the ones lifting the trophy.
Oh, beautiful there. Thank you very much, Kenneth. Of course, welcome back. It's still Sports World on the network service of the Niger.